Hey, sports fans, PBnZ Sports Chaos, we're coming back at you. And this week, we got some chaos. We're going to debate some topics this week for you. We hear a lot of stuff on the sports talk show, since there's nothing going on. We'll talk a little about those subjects ourselves. But first of all, before we get in there, I got a little history for you. Today, May 2nd, 2015. I heard this on ESPN. Was it the greatest day in sports ever? I don't know, but a lot of good stuff happened. Kentucky Derby happened. You know who won that race PB today? 2015?
California Chrome?
American Pharaoh. Triple
That was the
Crown winner that year. Also, MLB, a little DYK historically. Two things you might not want to be associated with if you're a baseball player. The first time ever a baseball game ended with the runner on base getting hit by the batted ball. It happened not only once in the Angels game, also in the Diamondbacks game. Same thing, both teams lost because their runner got hit going from first to second on a batted ball. Never before in baseball history has that ever happened. Unbelievable. Also, speaking of the NBA, because we both got a little NBA stuff going on today, San Antonio Spurs, were eliminated by the Clippers. They were the defending champions. They lost to the Clippers. See you later. Also, there was a big boxing match, PB. I don't know if you remember this one. Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. All happened today. Big day in sports. Unbelievable. All right, let's get into our debates. We got a couple good subjects for you fans. Green Bay drafting Jordan Love. Everybody's talking about it. We'll talk about it as well. A good move or a bad move? And then I'm going to ask PB, is Aaron Rodgers really as great as everybody thinks he is? I believe he's overrated. PB will defend that. Then we'll talk about PB's new home team, because if you haven't heard, fans, he bought season tickets to the Miami Dolphins down in the Hard Rock Cafe Stadium, whatever they want to call it. I have no idea. But he's getting season tickets down there. So he thinks they had a great offseason so far. I'm not so sure, and I'll tell you why. Then we got to talk about Bill the Genius. PB is still a big Patriots fan. He still believes in Belichick. I don't know. I think the armor might be cracking. We'll see. And then last, we got to talk about it, coronavirus time. Should the NBA, should the NHL, should they resume the season and play it as is whenever they can play? I don't know. We'll talk about it. All right, PB, let's get right into it. Jordan Love, good move for the Green Bay Packers or what?
Well, if history repeats itself, it'll be a good move, right? I mean, the kid definitely can throw the ball, right? Big kid, 6'4", 225. He has, and he's a natural thrower. He's got good air and touch on the ball. He's aggressive passer between the hashes. Holds the ball tight. Holds the ball secure. May hold it too long, which might be one of your cons. Throws a tight, hard ball. Can throw it into a tight window. He has good vision in the field. He can move the sticks on his because he's such a great passer between the hashes. And he also, with that open field vision, can run for the first down too. So, and when I say history repeating itself, if you look at what happened with Rodgers, he was a backup for 3 years.
Right.
It wasn't until the 4th year that he actually started starting for Green Bay when Favre moved on to Minnesota, the Jets, wherever it was. But, you might see the same thing here. I mean, what's Rodgers, 36, right?
Same age as Brett Favre. Same exact type of history.
And he'll turn 37 in December, so he'll turn 37 during this NFL season. But if he plays the next 3 years, he'll be up right around that 39-40 mark. He moves on, and then in comes the tutelage of Love. And I think that this may end up being the right fit for Green Bay in the long run. I really do.
So do you really think, given the way today's game is played, that they can allow him to sit there for 3 years? And do you think he wants to sit there for 3 years?
Well, that's a good point. I think the big thing will be, how does Rodgers play? Does Rodgers get hurt? Because if he gets hurt and Love comes in and proves himself, then he's going to be such a hot commodity that it'd be stupid for Green Bay to hold on to him for 3 years when they could get something really, really valuable for him. So if he never touches the field, what are you going off of? Game film from preseason? I mean, how valuable is that?
I will say this. I think he has a lot of talent, but to me, he's a Mike Mamula. Do you remember Mike Mamula from BC? He was the star of the combine. Remember that? He got drafted number 10 by Philadelphia because he was such a stud in the combine. Jordan Love is another guy. He looks pretty in his shorts. I don't know he's ready to play in the big time. Don't forget, he threw 17 picks last year. I think Jameis Winston, when I hear 17 picks in his last year of college football, and look what happened to Jameis Winston, right? Also, the other thing about this thing, let's think about it. Even if he does prove to be the real deal, how can Green Bay get rid of Rodgers? Because he's on the books for $45 million of dead money in 2020 alone and $31 million in 2021. He's basically handicapped the team. And this is what I'll say about Rodgers and any other star quarterback. And this is the only reason why I really appreciate Brady. He never took the most money ever so he could allow his team to recruit and draft other players. Rodgers basically now said, give me the most money. You can't pay anybody else. And that's why Green Bay has never drafted a skilled player in the first round in his entire career. He himself has handicapped that team, in my opinion, PB.
I agree with that. So we let's move on to Aaron Rodgers. And is he overrated or not?
I think so. What do you think?
Well, I'm playing the role of the pro here, right? So I have to come up with the reasons why I don't think he's overrated. I mean, he has won a Super Bowl, right?
He has one Super Bowl, correct.
He has one Super Bowl, right? So he has the ring to his credit. I mean, even last year, we definitely a subpar year at best, but he still threw for 4,000 yards. He had a 26 TD to 4 interception touchdown to interception ratio, which is Brady-like, right?
Yes, yeah.
95.4 quarterback rating, a 62% completion percentage. It's not like he's slacking off necessarily, and one could argue he didn't even have the weapons last year to throw to. So,
good point.
Yeah, I'm going to say he's still a good quarterback, and I don't think he's overrated at all based on his past history. He's won the league MVP twice, and he won the Super Bowl, and he was the MVP of the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl. So I'm going to say no, he's not overrated.
Ooh, all right. So PB, I got one thing to say to you. Two things actually. Brad Johnson and Trent Dilfer. Do you know those guys?
Yeah, I do. They both won Super Bowls.
They won one Super Bowl. Are they Hall of Famers in your opinion?
Not even close.
So, if you're going to talk about Super Bowl wins as something that's a criteria, forget about it. Come on. I will just go back to the salary thing. I think Rodgers handicapped himself by wanting the most money because I think Green Bay says we're going to pay X for wide receivers, going to pay Y for running backs. At the end of the day, they can't pay X for wide receivers because all the money goes to Rodgers. He's handicapped that team by taking $41 million this year or $45 and $31 next year. That's the problem. Brady never took that money. So shame on you, Aaron Rodgers. All right?
That has nothing to do with how good of a quarterback he is, though.
I agree, but when people argue, well, he's never had a skilled position drafted for him, how can they? All the money's being given to him. So, and then I just go back. Brady's never really had skilled positions either, right? He's won 6. Aaron, you've won 1 for crying out loud. Jim Plunkett won 2. He's not even in the Hall of Fame. Jim Plunkett should be in the Hall of Fame. He won 2 Super Bowls, for Christ's sakes. Aaron, he's only 1. I don't know. All right, moving on. Let's talk about your new home team, PB. The Miami Dolphins.
The Miami Dolphins, right?
Have not won a Super Bowl since, I believe, 1974, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, and they're not going to win another one this year for sure. But could they be the most improved team in the NFL when you look at the number of wins they had this past season and the number of wins they'll have in the coming season? They'll be in the conversation. They had no real major losses. If you had to find one, maybe you could say Talib was their biggest loss. And I'm not even sure Talib was plateauing in his career right now at best, if not on the downside. So
Okay.
what do? They go out and they get Byron Jones. Granted, they spent a shit ton of money to get him. 5 years, $82 million is a lot of money, but I think he's definitely a corner who can come in and easily replace Talib and obviously add a lot more to that team. Who else did they get in free agency? They picked up Eric Flowers, offensive tackle. They picked up Jordan Howard, right, running back. Then you got the New England Patriots South going on, just like, everyone's calling Tampa Bay the Tampa Bay Patriots because Brady and Gronk are going to be there. Well, look at who Miami's got, right? They got Ted Karras, offensive line. They got Shaq Lawson, former Patriot. They got Landon Roberts and Van Noy, the two linebackers. They got a lot of Patriots players and a lot of good players. So that's free agency. Then look at the draft, right? And in the draft, they take Tua in the first round. I was hoping they'd take Herbert. Tua. You
were picking Herbert.
I wanted Herbert. I think Herbert will be a better NFL quarterback, but I'm not saying that doesn't mean Tua is not good.
All right.
Jackson, another offensive tackle. So now you have Flowers and Jackson on the offensive line. He'll start, I think, day one for the Dolphins. And they go on to draft 2 other offensive linemen. They drafted 3 defensive linemen, including Raekwon Davis out of Alabama. And the one pick that I know you're not too thrilled on is it Igbin Oganawa? Is how you say it?
Noah Igbinoghene, yes, in the first round from Auburn.
Now, right, that he was a projected second-round pick. There was a lot of talent coming out of this draft at corner, right? And there may be a corner or two taken after him that you might have put higher than him. But they're taking a little bit of a gamble on this kid. But you have to admit, he's a physical player. He's tough. He's explosive, right? His size may end up being he's only 5'10". When his back gets turned to the ball, he's not going to have that same leaping ability to get up and defend. I will make a prediction right now. I know I'm going on the con side. He could be the rookie cornerback in the NFL with the most PIs this year. So that's the one thing against him. You'll probably bring that up.
Okay.
I think he's very PI prone. Let's put it that way. But overall, I think this kid could make a difference. He's going to be one of those badass cornerbacks. He's going to get into a lot of trouble. He's that kind of player. So, but overall, I think when you add the agency and you add in the draft, I think they're one of the most improved teams in the NFL.
So when do they win again?
It really is going to depend on Tua. If Tua really comes in and demonstrates and shows that he is a franchise-type quarterback and he can be the next Lamar Jackson or the next Patrick Mahomes, they'll win sooner than later. But if he's not that quarterback, if he just turns out to be another, RG3 or another whatever, then it'll be a long way off. Because we all know that in today's NFL, it's all about the quarterback. So
Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. Oh my God, PB, you've been in the Miami Sun too long. All right, let me tell you the problems here with Miami.
I said if.
All right. Here's what I got. Noah Igbinoghene, whatever his name is, way overrated, way overpaid. And you know what? He will not have the most PIs, PB. You know why? He won't be on the field. He may not even make the team. That's my prediction. Robert Hunt, the guard from Louisiana Lafayette, you might as well go with somebody from the school that the Patriots picked from down in North Carolina in Division II, for Christ's sakes. Are you kidding me? All right. Finally, the last reason why I think the Dolphins are in big trouble. Brian Flores. And I happen to like the guy. He's a BC grad. I'm a BC season ticket holder. Love the BC train. But you know what? Let's talk about the tree that he comes from, the Bill Belichick tree. Al Groh, Romeo Crennel, Charlie Weiss, Nick Saban was a Belichick disciple. Eric Mangini, Jim Schwartz coached the Lions not that well. Josh McDaniels is a great OC, not a great head HC. Bill O'Brien, yes, he has a winning record, but he's also the worst general manager in football. Matt Patricia, oh my God. Flores. Oh, by the way, did you know Cliff Kingsbury was in the Belichick tree in 2003? All right, hang on to your hats, fans. Where do you hear this one? 196 and 281, a .410 winning percentage. Brian Flores, Love you, dude. But you got a poor coaching tree to follow. I don't know if you can come out of that. By the way, the coach that does not get enough credit, Mr. Bill Walsh. His disciples have a .520 winning percentage and 2 Super Bowl titles. There's no titles in that tree right there.
I'd be interested in looking at the Bill Parcells tree. And actually Belichick is a disciple of the Bill Parcells tree.
We'll have to talk about that one on another show. All right. So speaking of Belichick and the Pats, I don't know where to go here. Let's talk about PB. You always defend their drafts. You defend their trades, their free agency. Give me why this time.
Well, I think Belichick has a history of making the most out of his 53-man roster. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. It's always been that next man up theory, and nobody's greater than the team. And he will take those 53 players that are on that roster come opening day, and he'll make the most of them. Their defense is definitely not going to be, I know you're concerned because they lost 5 or 6 players on defense, but
yes,
it's still a top 10 defense in the NFL. Probably the best defensive backfield in the entire NFL. And I think that they'll continue to shut teams down, especially the teams that they, play in their own division, 6 games right there. So I'm not worried about them defensively. Offensively, I am a little bit concerned about them. But again, if Belichick can take that team and get them to 10-6, 11-5, and make the playoffs and maybe win a game in the playoffs, potentially even maybe go to the AFC Championship game, he's, to me, in my mind, he would be the coach of the year if that was to happen. So until he proves me wrong, I'm not going to claim to be a pro scout and understand this D2 player that's coming out of safety at freaking, East Bum whatever USA. I mean, he could be a good player on the team, and until he proves me wrong, I'm not gonna put the guy down.
So PB, I got one question to ask about that pick. Before we went into the draft, tell me what you would have highlighted as the biggest Patriots needs.
Before they took their safety?
Correct.
Well, I know that linebacker was one of them because I was high on Murray. I was high on Murray from Oklahoma that they didn't get.
Yeah.
So that was a big need. You could make an argument D-line.
2.
Tight end was certainly a need.
3.
You probably could even say offensive line was a need.
4.
Yeah, and those would be my top 4 needs.
Oh, not even quarterback. Okay. All right. Well, all right.
Yeah, I'm not.
And by the way, did you just not say a minute ago they have the best defensive backfield in the league coming back, correct?
Pretty much, yeah. It's going to be tough to beat.
So you had 4 needs. In your opinion, I would agree that 4 and plus 5, I would say quarterback. So you have 1 less than I do.
Right.
And the strength of the team was defensive back. You moved down in the draft to get a Division II player as the first pick. Kyle Duggan. Yeah. I don't know how many shirts are going to be bought by Kyle. I might go and buy one if I can get one on eBay for like $5. Who knows?
That doesn't make any sense. And your defensive backfield is only as good as your pass rush. And if you have no pass rush, that just burdens the defensive backfield. It's mind-boggling, Russ. I can't figure that out.
And we'll be talking about this all year long. Once we get the football season, hopefully we start playing. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. The big debate, and it's been all over the Boston stuff up here, PB. Is Belichick the greatest, or is it Brady, blah, blah, blah. We'll find out. This is the year we're going to find out, right? But speaking of whether or not we play anything, the first thing we're going to talk about is the sports that were going on that stopped in mid-March because of coronavirus. Now they're trying to figure out a way. NHL, NBA, I don't know. PB, should they restart?
I hope they do. I think there's enough going on right now with the reopening of some of the states and businesses. It's a gradual approach. I think the most important thing, obviously, is going to be player safety, referee safety, not just the players, but everybody that's going to be involved in the game itself, coaches, players, refs, etc. As long as all of their safety is of the first most concern, I'm a big fan of playing games in empty stadiums. granted ticket revenue and concession revenue goes down, but the TV revenue and the TV audiences are going to go way up. People are starving for sports right now. They're dying for sports. You put those things on TV, they're going to be very, very well watched.
Well, to that point, the draft was the highest watched draft ever this year.
Right. So that plays right into it. And I guarantee you that and I think you should play out the regular season. There's only a handful. There's maybe 10 games left in the NHL. There's maybe 15, 16 left in the NBA. There's not a lot of games. You can bang those out in a couple weeks, right? So play out the regular season. That way nobody complains about who makes the playoffs and didn't make the playoffs and all that. And then maybe do a shortened playoff. Still keep the same amount of teams making the playoffs, but maybe you do in the first round, you just do one game, a play-in game, or at most a 2 out of 3. And then in the second round, maybe another 2 out of 3. Third round, you can go to maybe 3 out of 5. We'll keep it 2 out of 3. And then don't go to your 4 out of 7 until you actually get to the Stanley Cup Finals or the NBA Finals in basketball. That might be a way to keep the playoffs condensed and shorter. That way you finish enough time to give yourself a couple of months before before training camp starts for the next season.
That's an interesting proposition. I don't think they can play the games. I mean, if you can't start by June 1st, I don't see how you can play the games. Because to your point, if they're going to want a 30-day training camp, that now puts you in July. And then if you're going to play games on top of that, I mean, you can't, in my opinion, you can't be in September with the NHL, NBA competing, with MLB at that point in time probably playing, right? And the NFL starting. There's no way in heck you could play that. I think
and you got to get ready for your 2020, your 2020-2021 season would start in October, right? So you're that as well. So it would be tough. You got to get this thing in gear probably in the next 30 to 45 days to make it happen. And you definitely have to do a condensed playoff format.
I agree. Hey, by the way, you're pro athletes. If you are not in some semblance of shape that you can't get out there on the court or on the ice within a 10-day period and at least play somewhat, semi-competitive, because everybody's going to be in the same boat at that point in time. No one has an advantage. Then there's a problem with you guys, all right? There was a day in sports where no one started training until they went to training camp. And now you guys are training year-round. Give me a break. Play a couple preseason games, if you want to call it that, and then get right into it with the playoffs and start right there.
I agree.
This can't last beyond September.
Yeah, I think, and the biggest shame of this whole thing is the Bruins were having a phenomenal season. They already have 100 points. Best team in the NHL by far. The next closest team is St. Louis in the West, the St. Louis Blues at 94 points. So it was actually almost a rematch in the making, ready to happen, right? With the Blues and Bruins again in the Stanley Cup. How awesome would that be?
Oh man, yes, it would have been.
We might miss it. I don't want to miss it. I want to get to this stuff.
I think though, if they can't start anything by the middle of June, you just got to call it a season. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's another 45 days away. So I think there's some time to try and do that.
But it's going to be like June 15th is going to be the cutoff in my mind. Because at that point in time, you say they got to have like a 10 or 15, or people say they got to have a 10 or 15-day warm-up. Now you're in July, and you want to play more regularly. You just forget about it. You just got to forget about it. I don't know. All right. PB. Hey, fans, go on Facebook. Check us out, PBnZ Sports Chaos. Like our page. Go on YouTube and subscribe to PBnZ. And we will be doing another Instagram Live show very soon as we move to the next platform. We did one 2 weeks ago. We'll be back on IG very soon. PB, anything else to add?
The NFL schedule comes out this week, so we'll know every game when it's being played. Hopefully it starts on time, but we'll start getting into the teams' schedules, and we'll break them down starting next week.
I guess I got to get a red shirt for my bobblehead. All right, fans, PBnZ Sports Chaos signing off. Thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe.